Red Flag Poetry is an organization that merges poetry and art in postcards that get sent out to subscribers in 20 states and Canada. It is supported by the English Literature and Criticism program at Indiana University of Pennsylvania and aims to make the mailbox fun again in a world where digital media is at the forefront. A main editorial staff comprised of 3 people, one of which is the founder of the organization, leads Red Flag Poetry.
My name is Peter Faziani. I am the general editor of Red Flag Poetry, and I primarily do design and layout and things like that, but I also read all the poetry in terms of editing and selection process and stuff like that.
My name is Matthew Stumpf. I'm one of the editors of Red Flag. My main role is to be kind of our digital editor. I work with a lot of our digital work, the Red Flag Poetry Express service that we offer, where we email poems and we use them on our website. So my main role is to do that, and I also help out with subscriptions and fielding emails from poets and whatnot.
I'm Wesley McMasters. I am a co-editor at Red Flag Press and Red Flag Poetry. And also, I think my label is Idea Man, but I don't really know what that means.
Hi. Welcome to Lit Night at the Artist Stand. We've been doing this for 3 years.
Pete started by himself. He had maybe 20 subscribers, and he had this idea that I'm sure he'll explain. I think he came up with it on a drive home from Michigan back to Pennsylvania. And he had this idea that he wanted to bring something bright into people's mailboxes.
When I first started this, it was me in an apartment. We had an office upstairs, and it was very crammed. But I went to Staples, I bought some postcard paper, and I did everything myself.
We went from Pete's basement to 20-some states, 2 Canadian provinces. We have a poet from India coming up, and it's grown exponentially.
We recently released our first full-length book, and we did it with a poet and an artist based in Ohio. So we took a trip out to Cleveland, and we read at a small bookshop in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. And it was just an amazing experience because so many people showed up to support us. Some people drove halfway across the country. Some people came with us from Indiana. It was just such a great group of people all there to support the written word, and it's kind of this idea that poetry is a community. Everyone's felt that feeling where you've got this something on the tip of your tongue and you can't quite articulate it. And for me, that's what poetry's always done for me. It's able to take what's been sitting on the tip of my tongue and finally get it out there.
I don't feel normal. I don't feel like I do things that normal people do, and so it's trying to come to terms with that and working through those things.
I think poetry for me is just easier for me to capture in the moment, whereas writing fiction takes me more time. It's more process-based. Poetry, I can get down on the page and then come back to it later after I've had some distance from it to actually reflect on it. So in that sense, poetry is just, I don't want to say easier, but it comes more naturally to me.
We do the Lit Night at the Artist Hand once a month, the last Friday of every month, and there's so many poets there and so many of them are just brilliant. And to hear them pour their hearts out in front of an audience and to feel comfortable doing that is always inspirational.
Poetry is stemming from powerful emotions. Like it's you, and it has to be something that is so powerful you don't really know how to articulate it other than through a stanza or an entire poem. It's something that can't be said in one word or one phrase. It has to be written down, and because it affects you so deeply that it has to be written down and expanded out that much.
I don't remember the word that I spelled to win it at our field trip to the one-room schoolhouse, but I had a smile on my face as we walked single file on the side of the old country road, the cattails and pussy willows pointing the way back to school. The crisp October wind kept tousling my hair as if to say, "Great job, kid, well done."
I think one of the biggest things that we have to deal with is being a print publication in an ever-increasingly digital field. The entire purpose of Red Flag is to, the poetry project is to make the trip to the mailbox fun, right? but the mailbox is becoming an antiquated thing now.
It's really hard to get people interested in poetry, let alone get them to pay for poetry. So we're funded partially by the university, and so we can offer free subscriptions for IUP students, or actually anybody with an IUP email. So that includes faculty, staff, and alumni too. And that keeps us going. But ultimately, we need paid subscribers to keep things rolling.
We've published 3 chapbooks and 1 full length, with our second coming out in April. And even though it's a very small project, we're able to make it by right now.
Projects such as this, it's a passion project. I mean, it's a bunch of people that really just love the written word, and we're trying to spread that to as many people as we possibly can.
A dream has always been, as we're at 20-something states, a dream has always been to hit all 50 states, to send a postcard to every state in the union, and that would be really cool. It's difficult though. How do we target specific audiences, say in Arizona or in California?
Hopefully this project will develop into something that is stable, something that can last. The nature of my academic program will determine, or will obviously make me leave Indiana eventually. But by then, hopefully we'll have a setup that works because people want to see what Red Flag is doing. Whereas we're not at that point trying to find new ways to get people's attention, but we already have their attention.
I'd love to see our poets succeed and be able to, write a really successful book, and it gets reviewed by some really successful magazine, and they get to say that one of the people who published them or one of their first books was Red Flag Poetry. I mean, I think that that's where I see it going.
Use Your Words podcast is a great little thing we've started recently where each month when we release a postcard, we will then interview the poet that appeared on that postcard. So we sit down with them, we have a few prepared questions, but mostly it's kind of an off-the-cuff conversation.
Personally, the mailbox has been made great again, solely because of the small endeavor in Indiana, Pennsylvania.
Right, I mean, what, 18 states? 2 Canadian provinces?
2 Canadian provinces.
And it truly is, it's great the best part is when I get on Facebook in the morning and I see people sharing that our postcards arriving and brighten their day.
We ask them where they gain their inspiration, what kind of poetry they read. It's always fun. We always ask them what's the best piece of mail you've ever received, because our aesthetic is about sending out postcards and trying to make the mailbox a little bit more enjoyable.
We have obviously our social media. We do a submission reading period twice a year through Submittable, where people can submit poems for our postcard project digitally. But we also are accepting chapbook and full-length manuscripts.
You can visit our submit page. So on the submit page there is an option for artists as well as an option for poets. And whenever you click on those, it'll take you to Submittable, which is a platform we use in order for people to submit their poetry. It's a great little service online. And when you get there, there's an options for how to upload everything. The instructions are really easy. And as far as getting subscribed, you can again go to our website at www.redflagpoetry.com and you can go to subscribe, and it is free for all IUP students, and if you're not an IUP student, it is $12. It's $12 for a year subscription, so you're paying $1 a month for a postcard with beautiful artwork, beautiful poetry, handcrafted by a bunch of cool individuals and sent right to your mailbox.